marvelous Monday and post apocalypse Super Bowl. Hail to the Eagles here from the Irvington Community School Corporation. I'm Hans D. Lassiter with my brother from another mother back there, our executive producer, Chris Ashmore, with a special Monday CEO report via YouTube, a Chris Ashmore production. And look at who has joined us this morning. A special show this morning to pay tribute and homage to arts education in our schools. And I will have my colleagues to my right introduce themselves and share a little bit about who they are and what they do and why arts education, music education, is so vitally important to today's children. So, ladies, the floor is yours. Who are you and what do you do for ICS?
Absolutely. I'm Miss Kubian. I teach choir, musical theater, and music history here, middle and high. And this is my second semester here, but it's already been really a wonderful experience.
Glad to hear that.
I'm Rebecca Byers. I have been teaching here at Irvington since 2017. First started as a choir teacher, and in 2022 transitioned to our band department. Over my time here, I've been given a lot of opportunities to show a lot of growth, including reinstating our choir program at the middle school in 2018. In 2023, we founded the first pep band for the corporation, and then this last semester in 2024, founded our first marching band, the Raven Regiment. And my goal, since my time starting here, has to evolve and make accessible, equitable music available for all, no matter what period.
She says the right things, and here's why I'm so enamored and I love being here. It's almost unfair. So Miss Kubian and I were connected at Christmas. I was her secret Santa, so I got to know a little bit about her through the gift exchange. And Miss Byers here, don't let that warm smile and congenial personality fool you. She had me on the hot seat about 4 years ago when I interviewed for this job, and she was one of the hosts of the community forum I had in middle school. So I met her then. And her energy and her enthusiasm were infectious. So what you're seeing are two dedicated professionals who are serving the needs of our students in two schools. So let's hop right into it. Arts education, particularly music education, has enjoyed a long and sometimes curvy and bumpy road in American education. Talk with our audience today about how important, in your opinion, arts education is, music education, in the lives of students, because we've heard the scholars say that there's actually a musical intelligence, that students actually can learn some music. Share with us how big that is and how you walk right into that.
For sure. I think that music has a very strong importance in our schools, as well as the visual arts, because it reinforces a lot of the things we ask for in standardized tests, getting ready for college, the SATs, including reinforcing reading literacy, fluidity, and comprehension. We may not be reading the English language, but we're reading a language of some sorts with symbols and commands that it tells our brain to do something. It provides a lot of higher level of critical thinking and problem solving, often mid-task, assessing where are we, what else is everybody doing around me, and how can I adjust to keep going and be successful. And I think that schools with prominent arts programs such as, our Carmel, our Fishers, they have very robust art programs and they have very robust student success as well.
We'll touch on that in just a second. Ms. Kubian, you want to ring in?
I totally agree. But when you see the data, when you see the science, kids who are scoring higher on tests are also the kids who are performing in ensembles. And it's connecting different parts of your brain. You're having to use both the left and right side. You're having to learn teamwork. You're having to learn commitment and responsibility. I think it's just invaluable, the lessons that you're learning in here. And that's what I try to do as well. Just teach a kid how to enjoy what they're doing, and they can apply that to the rest of their work.
Now, for those of you in audience land who are familiar with the format, they're walking right into this good track we're setting, and that they are talking about how important, how positive, and the way that music education, arts education has had a good impact on students' lives while they're here in school and beyond. So let's paint another picture, team. You've extolled the virtues of the promise of arts education in the schools. Go into a little bit about what schools would look like if there were no music education, if there were no opportunities for arts and arts expression and learning and teaching. What kind of school would that be, and is that somewhere you want to be?
I just feel like, it's kind of like the way that I view it is a good you're getting the basics of a diet for a kid, but you're not getting like the vast expanse of what they could be achieving. So if they're not having an arts education, they're not getting the whole view of what their life could be. Like they're not able to experience everything that they could be in this world if they don't get this education specifically as part of that. I don't believe that.
Well, so I have this wry smile on my face. I think you saw it coming because you're making some really, really good points that the audience has heard before. But watch this. They've heard it from athletes, coaches. They've heard it from engineering, science, technology, engineering, and math. They've heard it from your classic education, early college and what have you. But the bottom line remains the same. This is so important for the overall development of our children. So I'm coming back. Do you want to add something to that as well?
Yes. There it was a saying that I heard about when I was a young student, that earth without art is just eh. And meaning that without art, there is no life. I think a school without arts can survive, but is it thriving?
So I want to stick the format back there, Chris, but some of the follow-up questions is begging, so I'm going to go ahead and get it now. So earth without art is just eh. I like that. Schools without extracurriculars isn't a school. It's not a good place to be. Let's just keep it real. This program has done some major work. Now, I heard you heard her say you had to reinstate the choral program back in 2018.
Yes.
So here is the question all of us want to know. I'm going to play the role of a good old North Carolina legislator, okay, who doesn't like music education, doesn't like arts education, doesn't like career education. I don't think teaching youngins how to read music and play an instrument is worth the while. It's not worth the squeeze. They need to be learning reading, writing, and arithmetic. Share with us how disastrous a position that is to abandon or neglect the musical or intellectual inquiry gift of musical learning and intelligence in favor of traditional standards-based education. How is that a bad idea?
I think we would lose a lot in our society, especially when it comes to like social media. We would lose all of our major artists. Architecture would get more dry. I mean, it's gotten dry over the last 100 years. I think a lot of creative problem solving would become standardized. There would be no new ideas, and we would just be in a very regimented left, right, black, white, line, angle type of world.
Ms. Kuvion, I see you over there thinking.
Yeah, well, and I'm thinking because it's a reality, right? Like we have to fight tooth and nail for our program, and you really do have to wonder, like, is this something that's valuable to the kids? Obviously, we believe that, but I think you don't realize as quickly as if you were to take reading out how intentional our classes are. Like they're building things. We're building skills in kids that they could be getting athletics, they could be getting in other places. But I think a kid who doesn't have an arts experience could probably be lacking confidence. Like the things that they can find in our class are very subtle, but like really important for the long haul of how a kid grows into a functioning adult and human being. Like I really view what we're doing as giving them tools to find a voice and feel the ability to be heard. I think it's subtle, but it's important. You build stronger kids when they have these opportunities.
I agree.
I want to add something in really quickly.
Please.
I really liked what Kuvion said as far as, if we took reading out, there would be maybe not as quick of a presence, but I think that music and arts can teach what other classes are teaching in a different way. Maybe we are not reading, as far as like grammar, but we are reinforcing the skills of grammar in a different facet with a different side of the brain, without textbooks and pencils and just with your body.
The question that I know I enjoy asking the panelists when I get to ask is, I'm going to ask the same of you. Why do you think, as critical and as vital and as successful as arts education has been in so many of our schools across the country, why do you think, and I want both of you to speak on this so the audience that I can understand, why do you think arts education, voice, orchestra, strings, etc., why is it always first on the shopping block when we want to talk about budget cuts? Something so important, something that has so much benefit. Why is it always usually among the first to go when it's time to have budgetary conversations?
I personally believe it has a lot to do with the language of how we talk about arts education. A lot of schools will call it specials, which makes it feel like it's sort of an extra treat almost. I've taught in schools where, if a kid needs to be pulled out for testing or, something needs to happen, obviously important to that kid's education, but my class will be the first one that takes that hit, and then they don't have that time in my classroom. And, I'm completely willing and able to work with schedules like that. But I think we do have this idea about music education and arts education that it's not mandatory, it's not standards based, which it is. We have standards we follow, and that it's just not necessary to a kid in their, like their basic requirements, like credit requirements, when it is.
Agreed. What do you think?
I think I agree with Ms. Kuvion, but I also think it is a part of our societal shift, focusing on careers in STEM versus those careers that might be more artistic, creative, such as your math and sciences, as well as I think social media and AI making it social media overpopulating the music industry. So people are fearful of trying to get a job, not having a job, and being ultimately out, and then AI just producing mimics of what our real artists are, and taking those job opportunities away. So I think it is a practical fear, but it's a fear that we can conquer and find other ways to get around it.
So as we're building the house, let's talk about our student success because of these two dedicated professionals. I hear we had quite the weekend, and I know we've had quite the year because you've had several performances. But let's narrow it. Let's dial it down. Tell us what happened over the weekend I've been hearing and reading so much about.
Absolutely. This past weekend, Irvington has re-entered an ISMA, which is the Indiana State School Music Association solo and ensemble contest, where students choose to participate either by themselves with a small group, starting with 3, I think up to 10 or 12, picking a piece of music, breaking it down and learning it on their own, and then presenting it to a judge based on state and national standards, and then seeing how far they reach that bar. And overall, we had a very successful weekend of 9 golds and only 1 silver. So kids are reaching the bar, if not exceeding.
You hear that? And I need them to not be as modest, because I heard you say in our conversation, resurrection and implementation and introduction, marching band, pep band, spirit squad. What has music been able to infuse into the culture and climate of this school from your perspective? And I know you have to be proud about it when you see your pep band at basketball or football or at wrestling matches, and you sit back and say, "Those are my babies. I did this." Talk about it.
I'm a good old Midwesterner, and humility is my first skill. I will never say I'm proud of myself just because, the Midwestern upbringing. But I'm terribly proud of the kids and what we have come together. It has been mostly volunteers, some teeth pulling here and there to get kids interested. But once they're in the room with the other students and working on it, they are addicted.
Yeah.
What was the other part of the question? I'm so sorry. I got so wrapped up.
And how your work has
Absolutely.
led to the improvement of the culture and climate of not only the high school, but our middle school too.
Absolutely. I have been approaching and evolving my education to be flexible, and then when I don't know something, I have to learn it, so therefore my students have to learn it, and they have taken that and run with it. I hardly have to tell them to do something. They're just like, buyers would say this, buyers would do this, we're going to do this. So teaching through modeling and showing them this is the path, and if you want to be successful down this path, do these things so that you have a career, you have an ambition, a passion that you can take with you to college, get scholarships, create something good in the world. And they've been grabbing onto that.
And I don't want to put words in their mouth, but some of the answers were so deep and poignant with respect to the opportunity our kids have to create something, to use their creative genius to compose an original piece of music, something that they own, it's theirs. And then for them to be able to act it out or sing it out in this safe space is also cool.
Absolutely.
Share with us about your goals or your dreams for expansion. Is there like a elementary? Is it fluid all the way through, or is it just do it here and it's over?
Well, I mean, with the musical theater class that I'm leading currently, we really want to get into making that an opportunity for it to turn into a real show.
Okay.
We're really working hard on that. But yeah, I mean, my kids are also going to go to ISMA in April. We're going to do the organizational competition, which I think is cool. We got to include 8th graders who auditioned into be with the high schoolers for this competition. So that's in a couple months, but I'm excited for that and the opportunity we have to do a show. Yeah, I think there's lots of cool things on the horizon. I do also just want to say, you don't want to talk about, you won't take that laurel and put it on yourself, but I want to like uplift you and say the choir program that I came in and have taken over currently. I mean, Byers did everything for those kids. Like I really was coming into a good solid foundation to start to build with them. And already we are seeing a lot of kids joining, even second semester at high school. So,
and that was a lead-in question because you also represent a recruiting element for the corporation. So we love to look in the camera and we love to tell prospective parents and students, you want to be a part of this. And this is an opportunity for you to get in on the ground level, the ground floor of a growing, burgeoning program full of potential and hope. So team, with the moments you have remaining, tell the good people what they have to do to become a part of the marching Raven machine that you all are building.
Join band or just reach out with my email. You can call my phone, show up to a concert and talk to me for a moment. But anyway, you can join. It doesn't matter if you're a professional, doesn't matter if you've never picked up an instrument. We will teach you something and put you a part of the Irvington Community Band.
And check this out. They're known in the community because I'll go out somewhere and someone will say, hey, aren't you the bald guy who works at Irvington? I'm like, yeah, I think so. Well, let Miss Byers know I'm tuning a piano and I'll get with her. I'm like, how did this guy know that I was at Irvington, but how does he know her? And she knows everybody. But that's the influence that you have in this community. So we're glad that you're on our team.
Thank you.
We're glad that you all use this program to really cultivate the minds of our young people. The final question we have is one that usually gets deep. And both of you get to speak. Each guest before you has had the opportunity to wave a magic wand and fix one or a few issues that you believe are holding us back as educators in an education as a profession. If both of you had a magic wand, a fix-it tool to correct any issue that is negatively impacting education in its children today, what would it be and how would you fix it? Ms. Kuvion, you want to go first?
it's hard to pick just one.
You too.
Man, I mean, I would probably just try to make food accessible to every kid. They really need that when they come in, and just making sure that they have like a stable environment when they're here. And I would probably try to wave the wand over people who have their hearts hardened to the arts and just try to like open it up to them. And a lot of people have had like negative experiences too. So I think I would wave the wand and say like, hey, no, come over, try it. Everybody is like she was saying, everybody is welcome.
I agree. Arts can be challenging because especially if you have a phobia about public speaking. So imagine you have just a tense fear, and then the curtains come open, and then you see 5,000 people looking at you with a program in their hand saying, he's supposed to be talking about something right now, and I'm just in stage shock. So I know you probably can help me with that. Wave your magic wand, Ms. Byers, fix it.
Ooh, I think mine will tie into what Ms. Kuvion said. It's maybe racy to say, but I think educators need to be in charge of education. So because we know best. I mean, we know our students need food. We know our students need this. We need that. And it seems kind of counterproductive to have others making those educated decisions for us.
So I'm going to give her the green light. That was not racy. It was not controversial. It's something that we've all talked about, my dear colleagues. Watch this. Doctors police themselves, I think. American Medical Association Board, police themselves with internal affairs. They do have a civilian review board, but by and large, police themselves. The Bar Association polices the attorneys. Where I'm going with this is, why don't educators have the latitude and the liberty to police ourselves and govern our profession with decision making? I think you're right. if we had educators who were serving on boards of education, who were serving in the legislature, who were serving in Congress, who could somehow help the government is in place today to see education is vital, it's critical to the health of this nation. And to have someone who has absolutely no experience in this profession to make critical policy decisions is backwards. And that's our triumvirate statement of the day. Ladies, it has been a pleasure having you today. Students, congratulations on your performances. And I know we're going to have more outstanding work from you all this spring. Can you believe it's almost spring break? And with that comes I think a spring concert maybe? Do you have anything online for us there?
Yes, coming up on Wednesday, March 12th or 13th. I'm blanking on that actual day, but at 7 p.m., the bands will have their preview concert for our ISMA competition. Like Kuviana was saying, we are going to festival contest, meaning full group participates, not just individuals, and we together earn a rating based on state standards. And that will preview all of our intended work, plus some of the soloistic work that happened this last weekend, depending on if students would like to perform those.
And the middle school choir is working on a Black History Month project right now.
Yeah.
So not necessarily a concert, but that'll be coming out. People can watch. And then ISMA organizational competition, you can absolutely come watch and be a part of that audience. It'll be April 26th at Fishers High.
So we have some opportunities in March and April. And of course, we'll be back on Facebook to highlight those calendar events to invite you to come showcase and celebrate what they and the kids are up to. It's been real. And we always close our show by saying this. Do you think they know Chris? Do you know?
Oh, I'm blanking at the moment.
Do you know? It does not matter how far. It doesn't matter how wide. You just can't hide that Raven pride.
Oh, I like that.
Have a wonderful rest of your week. The weather might get tricky on Wednesday, so don't be surprised if you don't hear my voice between now and then. Just stay on the lookout. Team, thank you for your work. Audience, thank you for your support. We'll see you next time.